So being in a male dominated industry today, construction, it was never like a strange thing for me to be able to, you know, blend the two worlds. Did I know that I had to face certain aspects of my life of, the things that women face in male dominated industries?
Mhm.
Yeah. But at the same time, I knew that I could overcome it and persevere and use my skill sets to define me instead of anything else that would define me as my female nature, right?
And look, you being in construction, you deal with a lot of contractors who are probably still stuck in the 40s of you don't know what
Oh
you're talking about.
gosh.
And they try to classify you because you're a female of not understanding. Is that true?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
And
Utter
interesting,
bullshit. That's utter bullshit.
the construction industry has me really like flabbergasted, to be honest, because the technology they use to build these buildings, you think about like how they make these skyscrapers and the technology they use behind it, but yet the way that they do things internally is so archaic. Their
Yeah.
paying system, the way that they allow, women in on trades, or their respect, or I mean, there's so many different areas that they've just stayed. They're like, well, this is how we've done things for years
Mm.
and years. This is how we've done things forever. And, apparently we're supposed to stay the same. But, there are a lot of really great, innovative construction industries that are really being much more inclusive, diverse, and trying to change within how they do things internally. And even, because I'm a sub, and when you're at the end of the job as a sub, you're kind of walked all over.
Hmm.
And there are some companies, but it's 2022, and you think that they would kind of get on that bandwagon a little bit sooner, but unfortunately that's not the case. So,
Well, I think I can somewhat relate. Not being a female in construction, but my wife has torn apart every frickin' home that we've had and has blown out of the damn budget. And she's done it a few times, and we've fought about it. It's no secret. I share it on the podcast all the time. Like, oh shit, here we go again. But she'll strip things down to the bones. And she used to hire people to do it. And then she would hire a designer from VDA Design. She was on HGTV. She came down, Vanessa De Leon, who's a good friend. And then Liz started doing this other shit. And so like every home, I got so sick of contractors that it's mandatory they got to get the F off the property when I come home. I don't want to
yeah.
deal with them. They bother me. It's just it takes so long. Well, this past house, it started with, hey, we're going to do the backyard, right? Turf and all this. And then it's okay. I'm just going to do the bathrooms. All right, fuck it. I'm going to do the kitchen. I'm going to do it. She tore apart everything. And we're staying in another home. And I said, look, I've got one request. I want to move in and the shit is done. And it's got to be done by the timeline. Now, most of it was done by the timeline. She gave me shit to that. But here's my point of what I'm saying that's relatable to kind of what you go through is all of these contractors act like she doesn't know her shit. She's done this like 8 times and they treat her like she's not smart, like she doesn't matter, like they just put her on a shelf and just go about their shit. And so she has to get me involved. And you know, I've got a podcast. I got a car that has the
Yeah.
podcast on it. I've been on TV commercials, so they kind of know who I am. They're semi intimidated, but she's always got to throw the card. All right, I'm going to text Jason, or she'll throw me on a text with them, and then I'm like, hey, what's the deal? And then they backpedal. They're completely different. It's bullshit and sad that they just can't treat her with the same respect that they're treating me. You agree?
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the things that I try to share with anyone who's wanting to get in the construction industry or ask me, what is it like? I treat everyone the same. So when I am working with a female, I treat them the exact same way as I treat a man, because for me, when I'm doing business with you, it's not about your gender.
Correct.
So everybody deserves the same respect. Your skill set is what's going to define whether or not you have the capabilities to accomplish what you're tasked to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I'm here to be able to say, here's the information that you need, or let's have this conversation, let's go on this site walk, um, the expectation is that I co-own this business. I equally know I'm not just here as a marketing person, right? Like I have to be a business owner. That means I need to know inside and out of what I'm doing. And as a matter of fact, I've actually been in the construction industry much longer than my business partner, who is a man. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, well, between him and
You know
I've been
more
in the
shit than he
industry
does, right? You get
much,
to
much
flex.
longer.
Right.
Like, so it's kind of funny. It's like you can't judge a book by its cover. But what's really interesting is that my growing up, my dad has always been in the irrigation industry, and they're also very slow to innovate and to change. And he was one of the very first leaders in water conservation many years ago. So my grandpa, then him, and so many people turned their nose up at him and were like, no, we don't do things like that, and it's not until about 15, 10, it was like 10 to 15 years later, they're like, oh, maybe that's a really great idea. And it's interesting to see how, certain industries and, that are just so wrapped up in what they do that they have a really difficult time innovating and changing when
Mm-hmm.
it's only to be progressive and to improve your industry for the better. And people just
Right.
kind of hang on to it. But I'm so grateful for that example with my dad, because he was like, no, I know this is a great product. I know that low flow is extremely important. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that what I'm doing and pursuing is going to make an impactful difference, which he ended up shifting from the farming industry into, doing shower heads. But I got to see that all growing up, right? And even into my 20s. But, I ended up cutting my life short, so to speak, because like I said, for me in my life, I grew up in a small town. I was in a religion that was very, I don't even want to say confining, because you don't even feel like it's confined, but you're in a bubble, right? You really
Yeah.
don't know outside of your bubble. And so, I had these big dreams. I was in theater. I When I graduated from high school, I'm like, I'm going to go be a star. That's how I really wanted to be on theater and sing and perform. And so I went to Cal State Fullerton, which is in Southern California, just outside of Anaheim. And
Mm-hmm.
I was at school for musical theater. And I think that there was something inside of me that kept saying that if I don't make these choices, I don't love I don't love God enough, right? Like, there all these things. And I was like, I've got to do what I'm supposed to do, what I've been called to do, which is get married, have a family, do these things in
All the
that
thing that's
in this
expected of you. Yeah.
box.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize that I had it so built inside of me. And so that's where, generational teachings, when you strip them away, you almost feel like you don't even have an identity anymore. And it's a really painful process to go through, but it's the most liberating and beautiful process, because you get to really see who you are and the choices that you would actually make on
Mm-hmm.
your own, because you've been taught right from wrong. And, so I got married when I was 19, got pregnant when I was 19, had my first baby right after I turned 20. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, having babies and doing that. And I didn't have the opportunity or abilities to finish school, work, thrive on
Mm-hmm.
my own, and really see who I was as an individual. And yet I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, right? And so
Right.
it wasn't until I had an epiphany